So the other night I was teaching a class and somebody put in the chat, happy winter solstice. And although I knew it was the longest night and the shortest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, I realized that I didn't know that much about the solstice. And I decided to look a little bit more deeply into the significance. And I learned a lot that I want to share with you. Did you know that there is not one culture that celebrates the darkness, but every culture I looked into celebrates the returning or the expanding of the light? I discovered, for example, that the Hopi Indians celebrate the festival of soil, where they welcome the Kachinas, the protective spirits from the mountains, who arrive on the solstice day carrying torches of light. And in Persia, they celebrate the festival of Yalda, that is viewed as the victory of light over dark and the birthday of the sun god Mitra. And in China, the winter solstice is a major holiday with celebrations dating back to the Han Dynasty in 2006 BC. Throughout China, people visit temples as the sun rises and they celebrate the returning of the positive or yang energy. Christmas time is also referred to as the season of lights. We see lights on houses and lights on trees and lights in our churches and lights on our table. And of course, lights in our hearts, as those of the Christian faith celebrate the birth of the being of light, Jesus Christ on the earth. And during the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah, known as the Festival of Lights, Jewish people light the 8 candles of their menorah, a new light each of the 8 nights of Hanukkah, celebrating the miracle of having enough oil for just one day after the destruction of the temple, but it miraculously burned for 8. And during Kwanzaa, which begins on December 26th, candles are lit for 7 nights, each night representing the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, including unity, purpose, and faith. I think that one of the reasons there is a lightness in the air at holiday time is that the collective consciousness in the world is focused on light, and a light allows us to find our way in the darkness and out of the darkness. At this time on our planet, light is very much needed, as we know. And the more we put our attention on something by the power of our attention, it grows in the world. Let's use this time of the year, and especially this day of Christmas, to look at what is filled with light. Look at the good in the world, and there is so much good. Instead of spending our holiday time with family and friends, taking the conversation from bad to worse about the pandemic and the political divide and the increase in crime and all of those other seemingly insurmountable problems, and by us talking about them, it increases the darkness and the fear in the world. Why not instead go around the table, even if it's a Zoom table, and have each person share something good that's happening in their lives, and then something good that's happening in the world. And if you can't think of anything good in the world, go to a website like CNN Good Stuff, or my favorite, The Optimist Daily, that is just overflowing with good news. I mean, just today I read that, Scotland blew up its last coal plant as part of its transition to all green energy. How cool is that? I also read about these Turkish researchers who were scouring a river when they came across a Batman river loach, L-O-A-C-H, a critically endangered fish that was last spotted in 1974. Or how about this? The United Arab Emirates just stopped censoring movies that involve sex or homosexuality or anything considered offensive to Islamic sensibilities, even political views that they disagreed with, right? Or that teen drug use significantly decreased during the pandemic. One more. Afghan students across the globe can now continue their education through a digital portal called University of Exile, right? So as each person shares, you'll not only bring more light into your own life or their own life and the lives of other people at your gathering, but the collective light will radiate out and contribute to more light in the world as a whole. And just like for a forest to be green, each individual tree has to be green. For the world to be filled with light, each individual must start with him or herself. And I'm going to end with a story. I love the story. So there was an old man who was poor and unhappy, and he heard that in a far off land, there was a shrine that had a very blessed, holy flame. And if you could go to that shrine and light your lamp from that flame and bring it back to your house, it would illuminate your entire house and all of your family members with happiness and prosperity and good health and all good things. So the man made the decision that he would go and find the shrine, and he would light the lamp and bring it back to his house and even share it with the people in his village. So he walked for days and days and days, and he found the shrine, and he lit his lamp, and with great exhilaration began the long trek of many days back to his home. And when he was less than one day away, he met a man who was homeless and shivering in the cold. And the man saw that he was carrying a light. And the homeless man asked if the man could please use his lamp to light a fire. Well, the man with the lamp was afraid to open his lamp and expose it to the wind, but his heart told him to do it. So he lit a fire for the man, and his flame did not go out. And he continued on his way home. And with less than half a day journey to go, there is a huge pelting rain thunderstorm with lightning, and the man's lamp was extinguished. Heartbroken, he knew he would never make it all the way back to the shrine. He was too old, and at that point, too weak and too broken. And then he had the thought, but I could go back and find the homeless man with the fire, which he did. And he lit his lamp and he brought the light home. And from that day on, his life was filled with happiness, prosperity, and health. So I will leave it up to you to decide what the real source was of happiness for this man for the rest of his days. So I wish you a day and a season and a lifetime filled with light by being the light, spreading the light, and sharing the light. Happy holidays.